Every city has its secrets, those whispered tales shared in hushed tones that give a place its own unique flavor of mystery. But none are quite as haunting as the story of the abandoned subway line beneath. Metro Line 9. The tracks were sealed off 2 decades ago, shut down after a mysterious fire that officially claimed no lives, but left a permanent scar on the city's underground network. Despite the steel gates and concrete barriers, locals still whisper about it, especially on foggy nights. They talk about hearing music, a beautiful, sorrowful melody echoing from the sealed tunnels, a sound that doesn't belong to any living musician. 16-year-old Myra didn't believe in ghost stories. She believed in hard work, dedication, and the polished wood of her violin. She'd spent her entire life practicing, her fingers calloused, her dreams filled with the grand halls of the National Orchestra. It was her singular focus, her reason for being. Yet, no matter how many hours she poured into her craft, she felt an unbreachable wall between her and true mastery. Her technique was flawless, her notes were precise, but her music lacked something vital. It had no soul. Her instructors would say, "Technically perfect, Mara, but where is the feeling?" She didn't know how to answer. How do you practice feeling? One dreary Tuesday night, the weight of another failed audition settled heavily on her shoulders. The judge's polite, dismissive words echoed in her ears, louder than any applause she'd ever hoped for. Defeated, she boarded the last train home, the carriage nearly empty, its rhythmic clatter a hollow comfort. As the train plunged into the darkness between stations, it suddenly screeched to a grinding halt. The lights overhead flickered violently before dying completely, plunging the car into an unnerving blackness. A collective gasp rippled through the few other passengers. Emergency lights flickered on, casting long, dancing shadows. And that was when she heard it. A violin. Soft at first, almost imperceptible, a single mournful note that seemed to weave itself through the metallic groans of the stalled train. Then it grew clearer, impossibly beautiful, a melody so profound and full of longing it felt like it was resonating from the very bones of the earth. It was everything her own music wasn't. It was alive. It wept and soared and spoke of things words could never capture. Drawn by a force she couldn't name or resist, Myra felt her feet moving on their own. The train doors, which should have been locked tight, glitched open with a pneumatic hiss. There were no alarms, no frantic shouts from the conductor, just a profound silence punctuated only by that lonely, captivating melody. It was drifting from a blocked-off tunnel nearby, a dark archway bearing the faded sign, Line 9. Without a second thought, she stepped out onto the maintenance platform. The air was cold, damp, and smelled of rust and forgotten things. She followed the sound, her heart a frantic drum against her ribs. It led her to a rusted maintenance ladder descending into a deeper darkness. She climbed down, her violin case bumping against her back. She navigated through cold, dripping passages, the melody her only guide, pulling her deeper into the city's forgotten underbelly. Finally, she emerged into a vast, cavernous space, an abandoned station. Dust motes danced in the single beam of a broken, flickering lamp. Grime covered everything, and the air was thick with the silence of decades. And there, standing directly under that pale light, was a man. He wore a long, black coat that seemed to absorb the shadows around him, and he was playing a stark white violin. His back was turned to her. A strange detail caught her eye. His shadow, thrown against the grimy tile wall, didn't quite match his movements. It seemed to twitch and writhe with a life of its own. A thin, unnatural smoke curled around his feet, though the air was perfectly still. Then he stopped playing. The sudden silence was more deafening than the music had been. "You heard me," he said, his voice echoing slightly in the vast, empty station. It was crisp and clear, yet carried a hollow, disembodied quality. He didn't turn around. "Only the gifted here?" Mira took a tentative step forward, her sneakers crunching on debris. Who dot dot? Who are you? A violinist, he answered, as if that single word explained the impossible scene before her. I play for those who want more than what life has offered them. Myra swallowed, her throat dry. Your music. It's incredible. It's so powerful. I've never heard anything like it. He lowered his bow, the white violin gleaming in the dim light. My music grants a wish, he said calmly. Any wish you can imagine. Her heart hammered. This was insane. A ghost, a spirit, a madman. It didn't matter. The promise hung in the air, tantalizing and terrifying. Anything? She breathed. Yes, fame, unmatched talent, love, even time itself. But dot, dot, dot. He began to turn, slowly, deliberately. The movement was fluid yet unnatural. As he faced her, the light caught his features, and Myra's breath caught in her throat. Where his mouth should have been, there was nothing. Just smooth, unbroken skin from his nose to his chin. No lips, no way to speak. And yet, his voice filled her mind, a clear, sibilant whisper that wasn't sound at all. Everything has a price. He raised a gloved hand, gesturing towards her. I can give you the gift you chase, the soul you crave for your music. But in return, I will take your voice. Myra froze, a chill colder than the tunnel air seeping into her bones. My voice? Why? Because music demands balance, the voice in her head explained. A wish born from sound must be paid for with sound. Her fingers trembled, tightening their grip on the handle of her violin case. This was it. The answer to all her frustrations, the key to unlocking the greatness she'd dedicated her life to. A chance to finally be seen, to be heard in the way that truly mattered to her. But the cost. To never speak again. To never laugh with her friends. To never sing along to a song on the radio. To never call out her mother's name. Her voice was a part of her as much as her hands or her eyes. Then a sudden chilling thought surfaced. The old city rumors. The mute street beggar who suddenly found a winning lottery ticket and a warm home. The dancer, once confined to a wheelchair, who was now the star of the city ballet, but never spoke a word in interviews. The silent, stone-faced businessman who had clawed his way to the top of a corporate empire overnight. Had they all been listeners? Had they all stood in this very station and made a choice? The weight of it was suffocating. I won't pay that price, Myra whispered, the words feeling fragile and precious in the heavy silence. The silent violinist simply inclined his head in a gesture that might have been a bow. Then listen freely and leave. She turned and walked away, her footsteps echoing unnervingly. But as she climbed back into the world of light and noise, she realized the terrible truth in his unspoken warning. No one who heard his song ever truly left. The melody haunted her. It became the soundtrack to her dreams, a constant, nagging presence in the back of her mind. During the day, her own playing felt more lifeless than ever, a pale imitation of the phantom music. At night, her fingers would twitch, aching to replicate those impossible notes, to feel that power for herself. Every time she rode the subway, every time the train rattled through a dark tunnel, she felt him calling to her, his silent offer hanging in the air. The temptation grew, a gnawing hunger for the perfection she had been offered. The last time anyone saw Myra, she was walking towards the subway station late one evening, her violin case clutched tightly in her hand. She didn't head for the main entrance. She went around to the side, towards the sealed-off access point for the abandoned Line 9. Now, on cold, foggy nights, when the city is quiet, some people swear they can hear music rising from the grates of the subway, but it's different now. They say they hear two violins, weaving in and out of a beautiful, heart-wrenching duet. And they say that those who stop to listen for too long never speak again. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more tales from the shadows. Stay safe out there.